Welcome everyone. Now we will start with the second chapter of political science for standard 10th, the electoral process. First we will see what is electoral process. It means says the process of election, the entire process of election, right from selecting of the representative to till the decision of the results of the representative is called the electoral process. So as we all know, ours is a democracy government. So the important processes in democracy are election and representation. Democracy is a government of the people and for the people, or else it is a government elected by the people for their welfare. So we elect the representative on our behalf. Coming towards the objectives of election, electing people's representative. So we give the vote and we select a representative. The one who gets the majority of the vote is considered as a representative. Bringing about change in power through peaceful means. So if we want someone else in power, we don't go and fight. What we do is we have elections, and in that elections we elect a representative. We select a representative in a very peaceful means. There is no fight, there is no argument. Giving different political parties an opportunity to rule. So, there is a tough competition between the political parties. If they need to remain in the power, they need to give their best. So, if they give their best, they know that they will be elected in the next elections. So, everyone try to prove themselves, bringing about a change in policies of the government. So, if you see in every election, the political parties comes up with the new schemes, new welfare policies, bringing about social change. So every political party has some objective to bring social change. It can be any social change, it can be educational, it can be social change in terms of cleanliness, hygiene, population control. There are three types of election. Now coming towards the general election. Lok Sabha elections are conducted after every 5 years. This is called general election. Coming towards midterm election, these elections are held if the elected government loses its majority before completing its term in the parliament. So, if the government has been elected and if the members have the differences in their ideas, so the government collapse and again the elections are taken place and a new government is been formed. The parties of the condition government withdraw their support, resulting in the loss of majority support for the government. For example, if it is a bi party, okay, two parties came together and they got elected, but later on, the one party withdraws the support. So, if there is no majority support, the government collapses, and again there are re-elections. And if there is no alternative government is possible, then again there are re-elections. Midterm elections are basically conducted before the ending of the tenure of that election. These elections are held. Now, coming to by-election. Now, these elections are held if an elected representative in Lok Sabha, in Vidhan Sabha, that is Legislative Assembly, or in the local self-government resigns, or due to his or her death, his seat becomes vacant. So, by-elections are basically conducted if the representative gives resignation or if there is death of the representative. Coming towards election commission, this is the important body of our elections. The set of rules and law is given in a written document called Constitution. In Article 324 of the Indian Constitution, established the Election Commission, which is an autonomous body. Now, this Election Commission is an autonomous, independent body. The President appoints the Election Commissions. The Election Commission of India and State Election Commission at state level conduct all important elections. So all the important elections of representative in India is conducted by Election Commission of India at the state level as well as at the national level. Now coming towards the objectives of Election Commission, the electoral process should be free, fair, and reliable. That means each and everyone should get chance to vote. If the person is about 18 years old and is a citizen of India, so he has complete right to vote. Whether you are rich or poor, whether you are men or women, you have equal rights to vote. The representative elected by the people should be efficient, honest, trustworthy, and should be respect the opinion of people. So when we select a representative, we need to make sure he's intelligent, he's honest, he's confident, he can take decisions on our behalf, he can think for the good of the society. Now we will see the functions of election commission to prepare the voters list. So you must have seen that before elections, the people come at your place to check if your name is there in the list, in the voting list. They ask you for your voter's ID and they ask you to check their voter list if your name is there in their voter list. To decide the timetable and program of elections. So there's a proper timetable, there's a proper schedule for elections when the elections are going to take place. Okay, which the which places or which booths are being allocated to conduct the elections. The booths are basically the schools to scrutinize, examine the application of candidate. So to scrutinize or to deeply analyze the application of candidate and the representatives also to give recognition to political parties. So to recognize the political parties, to resolve any dispute relating to elections. So if there is any problem related to election, there can be corruption, even sometimes the riots happen, some illegal things takes place. To solve this disputes is the function of Election Commission of India. Preparing the voters list. Every Indian citizen who has completed 18 years of age has right to vote. This is called adult suffrage. To exercise the right to vote, citizen's name must be in the voters list. Now, if you are 18 years old, one needs to go and register himself or herself in the with the election commission, so he will get the voters ID to vote. It is the responsibility of the election commission to prepare the list of eligible voters, update the existing voters list and include the names of new voters. The election commission has the authority to issue identity card to the voters. So it is a very important document. So before election, the voter ID is been issued to the new users, and when you go and cast your vote that time the voter ID is very much needed. Decide a timetable and program of election. The conduct rules of election is entirely the responsibility of the election commission. The election commission decides when to conduct the election and in how many days to hold the elections in every state. Scrutiny of the applications of the candidates. After the election dates are declared, every political party selects the candidate to contest the elections. Some candidate contest the elections independently without the support of any political party. So some candidates, they don't have any support or backup of any political party, of any big political party. So they start up as an individual. If they have done a lot of social work, definitely they can be a representative in the elections. The candidates of political party as well as independent candidate have to fill the application which include the information about their own self. So they need to give the valid information about themselves while contesting the election. The election commission scrutinizes, examines carefully all the applicants and allow the eligible candidate to contest the election. So the election commission makes sure that the candidate have no criminal background. Okay, he has clean sheet, he has nothing to do with corruption. Gives recognition, legal states to political parties. We have a multi-party, more than one party system in our country. New parties continue to be formed. Now coming to a multi-party system. For example, if more than one party, when two parties come together or three parties come together, the way Maharashtra government was formed, the Congress, the Indian National Congress, then Shiv Sena, this all people came together, and that's how the multi-party system was formed in our state government. New parties continue to be formed. For example, AAP, Aam Janata Party. Split in parties results in formation of new parties. All political parties are required to be recognized by the election commission. So whichever the political party, it needs to take the permission from election commission. Election commission also has right to de-recognize any political party. If any political party has illegal agenda or is not in the favor of the country, so the election commission can de-recognize that political party. For example, Naxalite. The election commission also allows distribute election symbols to the political parties. So the symbols which the political party get, it is basically decided by the election commission. To resolve any disputes relating to election, the election commission has the responsibility of resolving any disputes that may arise regarding election. Accordingly, to declare any candidate as disqualified or conduct re-election in particular constituency, a fixed area, is the responsibility of the election commission. Restructuring of the constituency. First is total number of members in Lok Sabha. And the total number of constituency of the Lok Sabha is 543. Restructuring the constituency of the total number of members of Lok Sabha is 543. Lok Sabha is also called as the lower house of parliament. So you are supposed to remember this number 543. Every member represents one constituency. For example, Anushakti Nagar constituency. It means there are 543 constituencies of Lok Sabha. Creating constituency is the responsibility of the Delimitation Commission of Election Commission. The Delimitation Commission does not succumb except to any pressure while they restructuring the constituency. Later, it consists of 545 members who are directly elected by the common people through voting. Let's see how the election process works. First, the dates of election have been announced. Then the nomination phase, the representatives have been selected. Scrutiny of the nomination, the representatives who have filled the form, filled the applications, their details have been scrutinized, whether they have given the truth information or the false information. Withdrawal of the candidates, if we find if there is any false candidate, So the application has been withdrawn. Then camping. If you see during the elections, there are campaigns which happen. The representatives come to door step and they explain their policies, they advertise their policies. Then the polling take place, that is actual elections what we call. Then the vote counting has been conducted and the results have been announced. Now coming towards code of conduct. What does code of conduct means? We'll see that first. A common code of conduct is written for employees of a company, which protects the business and informs the employee of the company's expectation. It is a deal for even the smallest companies to form a document containing important information on expectations of the employees. Now, when I say code of conduct, for example, for schools also there is certain code of conduct. You're supposed to go in a complete school uniform. You're supposed to cut your hair in a particular style. For girls, that is two plaits. So that is a code of conduct which the school expects you to fulfill. Same way, there is a code of conduct in offices. Also, for there is a code of conduct in elections. The code of conduct explains the rules that are to be followed by the government, political parties, and voters before elections and during elections. Even the government can't violate or the government can't go against the code of conduct. Due to this rules, common voters have become confident. So, to ensure free and fair elections in India, the Election Commission has adopted several measures. There is Model Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct is one of the measures adopted by Election Commission. In the last few decades, the Election Commission has used its power to control malpractices. Malpractices means illegal activities during the elections. Like there are some political parties who pay the voters or they give the gifts. So this is called illegal or corruption which has been taken during the elections. This can be stopped by the Election Commission. Challenges in conducting free and fair elections. There are certain difficulties or barriers while conducting free and fair elections. Misuse of money during election. As I said, they give you the envelopes to vote for them. Criminalization of politics. Criminalization of politics means rising participation of criminals in the electoral process and selection of the same as elected representative of the people. So we can see there are many people who come from the criminal background and they show that they have a clean sheet, and again these representatives are been elected, and we can't help it that our criminals are leading the country. Violence during elections. Sometimes there are fights, there are riots when the elections have been conducted. Family monopoly, single rule in politics. So what happens? Grandfather was the leader, then the son becomes the leader, again the grandson become the leaders. So only one family is at the top hierarchy. So this is called family monopoly, which we need to stop. Students code of conduct. You're expected to respect, you're expected to be honest, there should be certain ethics, integrity. So these are the rule code of conduct which we expect from you. Electoral reforms, what reformations have been and what changes have been brought, we are going to look on that. Changes in the elections. Now 50% candidature should be given to the women candidate. Government should take care of election expenses. Political parties should not give candidature to candidates having criminal background. So the political parties can't select the representative who is from criminal background. Representation of the People Act 1951 should be amended whenever the need arises. Now, the first general election of Lok Sabha since independence was held in India between 1951 and 1952. First voter of independent India. Sham Sharan Negi from Himachal Pradesh. You are expected to remember this name. This can be asked in exam. He exercised his right to vote in independent India. First Lok Sabha election conducted on 25th October 1951. So here this is his pick. Sukumar Sen was the first chief election commissioner after independence. In 1921, Sen was elected for Indian civil service under the British rule. He was given the charge of election commission after established in 1950. Chief Election Commissioner Om Prakash Rawat. These were the traditional ballot boxes. Now we have the EVM machine. This is how the EVM machine looks. EVM means electronic voting machine. Let's have a look on ballot box or EVM. On the election day, the people go to the special polling booths. Here they give the vote to the through ballot paper or electronic voting machine. The ballot paper contains the name of candidates and symbol of their parties. The candidate who gets the maximum number of votes is elected to the parliament. So this was all about the electoral process. I hope the PPT was in a layman terms, it was simple, easy to understand. So if you think it is useful for you, kindly like, share and subscribe.